Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here today. Let me apologize up front that we're outside. It's a little cool out. We have some space limitations inside and some things going on, so hence we're outside. But thank you very much for coming. What I'd like to do today is provide you with a little bit of information, an update concerning the events that occurred at Travis Air Base 2 days ago on March 21st. But before I do that, I'd like to introduce my partners that are participating with the FBI in this investigation. So we have Special Agent Mandy McHugh of Air Force Office of Special Investigations. Mandy, there we are. We also have Fairfield Police Chief Randy Fenn. Randy. We also have Solano County Sheriff Thomas Ferrara, and also Undersheriff from Solano County, Gary Elliott. So I'd like to thank them for being here. This has been a joint effort on all of our parts. We, as you know, have very good relations with the Air Base and with Solano County. We have many task forces. We work together on a whole host of different types of investigations, and this being one of them. So let me go through a quick timeline of events as to what occurred, and then we kind of give you a update on where we are with the investigation and what we have found to date, and then we can answer any questions. So March 21st, which was Wednesday night, 7 p.m. At the front gate, main gate of Travis Air Base, where the vehicles enter. A vehicle approached the main gate, appeared as it was coming to the main gate that there were flames from inside, went through the initial checkpoint, and then veered off and crashed. The investigators from the Air Base, first responders, responded to the scene to obviously investigate the occurrence of the crash, found a individual inside, then attempted to rescue him because it appeared as if he was on fire. Then attempted to rescue him. Were able to get the doors open. They were locked, but were able to get them open. But he had already, unfortunately, predeceased, and so he was dead on the scene. At that point in time, Fairfield PD responded as well, in addition to officers of security or special investigations, and then the Air Base personnel, and it became a joint investigation at that point. What they saw initially inside the vehicle were some what looked to be propane tanks, and that obviously caused concern. So task force individuals arrived to help investigate, and again, like I said, Fairfield Police Department, local fire, the base fire, to help to put out the fire at the vehicle scene, and then through the task force, the FBI responded as well. Once the scene was secure, we had our evidence response team respond to the FBI evidence response team respond to the scene, began to process the scene for evidence to determine what we had. And that's a lengthy process because they go through and they're very specific on how they conduct the evidence recovery and how they process the scene. Very meticulous. So that was done through the evening hours. Other responders to the scene: Travis Air Force Base's Explosives Ordnance Disposal Team, Air Force Office of Special Investigations, as I mentioned, and so the investigation kind of became underway at that point. The initial assessment was that what was found inside the vehicle, 5 propane tanks, there was a gym bag with personal effects, 3 phones, and then 3 plastic 1-gallon gas cans, and then several lighters. So that was the initial, what was found in there. We could not, due to the condition of the deceased party, we could not immediately identify him. So then the process became attempting to identify him. Scenes processed, the vehicles processed. The sheriff's office, who's the coroner, they take custody of the deceased party and begin their begin their investigation. They were able to, it took some time, again, due to the condition of the deceased, but through rolling his fingerprints, they were able to identify him. So I'm able to do that and let you know who the deceased party is. His name is Hafiz Kazi, and I'll spell that for you. It's Hafiz, first name, Kazi, Kazi. He was 51 years old, approximately, and he has been living in the United States since approximately 1993 through our subsequent investigation. He's a legal permanent resident of the United States, and part of the investigation is trying to determine where he has been living. Most of his residence has been in the San Francisco Bay Area in general, but that is part of the ongoing investigation to determine where he was most recently residing and where he's resided in the past. Again, as I mentioned, legal permanent resident. He is originally from India, but again, been in this country since 1993. The Solano County Sheriff's Office, coroner, they're currently doing the autopsy. That will provide some additional information as to cause of death, and that's ongoing as we speak. So now what are we doing? So now it's a matter of the subsequent investigation. We know what happened essentially. We know that he arrived in this vehicle. There were the propane tanks. He was on fire. Died from. We don't know exactly what he died from. That will be determined in the coroner's report. But came up to the scene of the airbase. But now the question is why? Why was he there? What led him there? And we don't know the answers to that, quite frankly. So the investigation that we're doing right now is trying to piece together his life, trying to piece together what led up to this event, and attempt to determine why he was there and why he had those items in his vehicle. We don't have those answers, but that's an ongoing investigation, and we've got a significant amount of investigators assigned to it, night and day, since this occurred 2 days ago, and they will continue at it until we get those answers. So I just want to say the one thing that I know that is of the public's concern is there any associations? Is there other subjects? Is there a threat to the community? Is there a threat to the airbase? I can tell you as of right now, we know of no other associates that were associated to this incident. We know of no threats to the airbase. We know of no threats to the Fairfield and greater Solano County community that's associated with this. If we do determine through the course of our investigation that there are additional either individuals or additional threats, we'll obviously get that out as soon as possible for the public's awareness. But as of right now, I want the public to rest assured that we have no information whatsoever that any of those types of threats exist. So again, this is ongoing investigation. We will keep you informed about it as things progress. I know you have questions, but that's kind of the status of where we're at the current time. So let me open it up for some questions.
Have you identified any of Kazi's friends or relatives in his
Yep. So that's part of the ongoing investigation. We're trying to identify associates, friends. We have identified some associates, I would say, and we're doing interviews. So that's part of the our ongoing efforts. We've done some interviews. We're obviously doing things like social media scrubs. We're going to try to look at the phones that were inside the vehicle at the time. Email type accounts, things like that, to try to understand what his frame of mind was and what led up to this. So yes, we have identified a few people that we've spoken to. Family, we have not identified any family here in the United States. We do believe that there's family in India. One person in India that we've identified and spoken to. That's kind of where we're at right now, but we are looking for additional associates, additional friends, if any.
Just a quick follow-up, was he employed?
information I have is that in the past he had worked as a cab driver. I don't know if he was currently working as a cab driver or not, but that's the information that I have right now. But those are also things that are being investigated as to what was his employment, where did he work.
Sorry.
Yep.
When Don Thompson, associate president, there's been talk that he was sort of a nomad, a vagabond. Do you have that kind of a base or a home or anything like that, or what can you tell us there?
Yeah, so we are trying to determine kind of where his most current residence was. We do have some leads with regards to that, and we are following up on that currently. It does appear that there's different residences and so different areas associated with him in terms of where he's gone, mostly in the San Francisco Bay Area, and we're working on that now in terms of trying to define those.
Have you executed any search warrants of any of his past residences or his current ones or anything?
So we're working on some search warrants currently, and again, we have done some discussions and interviewed some folks, and we are working on some search warrants currently, though.
You said you're examining his phone. Have you already gotten into his phone to see if he's called anyone or gotten any information from any of the phones that you found?
Yeah, no, we're still in the process of doing that, so yeah, that's ongoing.
There was talk there was some sort of video that was recovered from the phone. Can you address that?
Yeah, sure. As of right now, I know that was out there. We have no videos that we found in terms of any I think there was some information out there that might be some jihadi type videos, things like that. And no, we've not found anything in that regard. I think there's one video that they were able to see on the phone and had nothing of substance really.
No manifestos, anything like that? That you found at the scene?
No. We didn't find any at the scene. That is part, obviously, of the ongoing investigation to try to determine was there anything left, either in writing or email or social media posts, things like that. That would be something that we're looking at.
Can you go back for a minute to the scene itself? Any shots fired as he came through, or was it at that point thought to be like an accident of some sort, or what was the
Yeah, no shots fired. I believe, and I could defer to my partnership, but I believe the thought originally was probably some sort of an accident as it was coming up to the front gate. So.
And if I could follow up again, I'm sorry. So it's propane that's in there. Obviously, that's a danger at that point to the first responders. Did they pretty much put it out before they realized, hey, this thing's a moving bomb kind of thing? Or was it something like where they were trying to prevent it from blowing up at that stage?
So the vehicle, if I have the timeline right, the vehicle crashed before any of the first responders got to it, and so it was already stopped, and then they responded, and then there was the flames, and I believe the doors were secured, and so at that point they did make the efforts to put the flames out and to rescue the one individual inside.
So it's more of that. We put it out. Hey, look what we got inside here. Is that kind of sequence as opposed to flips?
I believe that's the case. That's right.
Was there any evidence of religious that you found?
No, that's something. No, we don't have any evidence of any religious affiliation or anything at this point.
Are you investigating this as terrorism? Is there any nexus to terrorism as far as you know?
At this point, no. We're investigating it in terms of trying to determine what was the reasoning behind this. Why did this occur? And we don't have any nexus to terrorism at this point. That's something that we will obviously investigate in the sense of we want to know, as do you, and the public wants to know why did this individual end up at the front gate of Travis Air Base and on fire and now deceased. We don't have the answers to that. So,
What kind of vehicle was it?
do we know? Kia minivan. Thank you.
And one more following up. So after this is put out, he's moved away. Why allow people in there? Assuming it was a suspected terror attack or some sort of attack. What was the decision to allow people to reopen the gate?
So at that point, I don't know that I wouldn't classify it as a suspected terror attack, but obviously there was suspicions in terms of, you know, why did this individual, why was he on fire, and why did he have 5 propane tanks in the vehicle? Obviously, obvious questions. But at that point, the Air Force security, the police department was a big presence on scene, and they were able to secure the entire front gate and the area around it, to include the streets leading up to the base, streets inside the base. Once everything was secure and in control, the decision at that point was made to open it back up.
Just to clarify, so it was not initially thought of, I mean, what jumps to mind is this is, you know, some sort of terror attack, or not terror, at least some sort of attack. That was not the initial, I mean, once they spotted the propane and all the other stuff in there, was there thought this might be something else, and just a standard, if there's such a thing as a standard suicide, but a suicide as opposed to some sort of attack?
Yeah, no. So I can't speak for what was in the minds of the first responders when they went to the vehicle and saw the propane tanks as to what they thought it might be. But, you know, before an investigation is done, we can't determine why exactly he had those propane tanks in there, why he was on fire, what his intentions were, so to speak. You know, that's something we have to decide now, or determine hopefully after the fact.
How long was the base locked down then, or was it locked down for a period of time?
Do we know how long it was? 12. Okay. Well, it's approximately 12 hours.
And you said you talked to a relative in India. Can you tell us, was it a relative or friend or?
Relative.
You know, can you tell us what the association was? A parent, brother, sister?
Believe it was a parent, but it was a relative. So I'll I don't want to confirm for sure. I think it was a parent.
Did they shed any light on the possible motive at all?
As far as I know, the relative was not interviewed at this time. It was just it was a notification that their family member was deceased.
Did the car belong to the man, or did he rent it from somewhere, or did he own the car?
That's still ongoing part of the investigation, so I don't know at this point the status of that. We can get that for you, I think, but I don't know right now. It's part of the ongoing investigation.
Do you know where in India he's from?
I don't. I mean, I'm sure with the investigators are trying to determine that and will determine that, but at this point, I don't know. Yeah.
So at this point, you don't know if he has any ties to the base at all? Is that just under investigation?
So that is part of the investigation as to did he have any either friends or family connections, but at this point, we can't determine that there was any kind of connection to the base. So at this point in time.
Military or ex-military that you know?
No.
Can we get your name and title on the camera?
Yeah, sure. So first name is Sean, S-E-A-N. Last name is Reagan, R-A-G-A-N. And I'm the special agent in charge of the Sacramento field office for the FBI. Thank you.
Just one last thing. The minivan got through the gate and onto the base property, is that right? Then crashed. Is that what happened?
That's as far as I know, that's correct. Not being the first responder there, but yes, that got through and was on fire, crashed to the side, and then was addressed at that point. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate your time.